I'm Jason Pettigrew, editor-in-chief of Alternative Press Magazine, and you're about to listen to Cautionary Tales and Lessons Learned, a podcast where musicians share their most engaging, illuminating, and sometimes horrifying experiences in the music industry. William Francis, known to denizens of the dark electronic dance rock world as William Control, well, the dude has seen some shit. As the frontman of gothmo punks turned metal marauders Aiden, Control has starved for his art, then got paid handsomely for it, and then found out he was still on the hook for a ton of money. Vowing he would never wade in the cesspool of creative accounting ever again, he learned how the business worked and found out that DIY wasn't a method of operating as much as it was a way of life. He and his right-hand man, bassist Kenneth Fletcher, stopped by to share horror stories, as well as horror stories other bands are currently working through, as well as how his diversification into label management, merchandising, filmmaking, and sex toys has given him the first steps toward empire building. He and Fletcher were also ready to make a trip to Lowe's to get some wood and tools to fix the leaking gutter in front of the AP office after having the rain poured down on them during one of their many smoke breaks. Because now more than ever, Control and Fletcher are all about getting shit done. Gentlemen, how are you?
Well, how are you?
I am well. We had a charming evening last night where we were solving all the world's ills, but then we all forgot about it anyway because who wants to fix the world anyway? There's music to be made and business to be dealt with.
Fuck all that.
Yeah, pretty much. Briefly, the William Control brand is a fine electronic dance rock band, Submit Clothing, Control Records, author, label head, and basic artistic strategy. Is that correct as far as terms of any kind of resume?
I feel like that's pretty accurate.
What did I miss anything?
I mean,
Amateur skateboarder.
Control Merch Company. Is that on there?
No, you just have Control Merch. I do not have on there. I do have Submit Clothing.
Oh, see, it's a little separate, but you know.
Gotcha, Kenneth. What's your role in the organization?
I've been playing with Will for about 10 years. I do the records with him, and lately live, I've been playing bass and a little keyboards.
He also does all of the aesthetic, and has since the beginning. All the layouts for the records, all the artwork for the T-shirts, any design flyers, any design stuff you see has always been Kenneth Fletcher.
If there is a bar fight that you're in, Kenneth always has an extra bottle nearby so he can whack somebody in the face so you guys can get out quickly.
He does. He also has really long arms.
Okay. So
It
I mean,
helps.
it's a good skill. You don't want somebody going, oh, we're in a fight. Wait a minute. And they start scrolling on their phone. Oh, let me get a good shot of this guy about to punch you in the face. So, you need somebody like that in your life.
We do.
Okay. Fair enough.
In fact, although we've only been in one fight together, and I ended up punching the guy out.
Oh, okay.
He did. He made fun of my hair, and Will just wasn't having it.
It wasn't happening. Well, straight up, what is or are the biggest mistakes bands always make when it comes to their money?
They let other people manage it, and they believe that these people have their best interests at heart.
This is kind of the thing that you see repetitively.
Yeah, I mean,
repeatedly.
For years and years. I did it with Aiden. As an artist, as a kid, a young musician who just really wants to make records and go on tour with NoFX or play Warped Tour or any of that stuff. You're not thinking of long term. You're not thinking, oh, this guy that's managing me and my career and my money has my best interests at heart. He's concerned with the percentage he's going to get from each deal that he makes. And you put your faith in these people, and they inevitably just fuck you because they don't really give a shit about you.
How many managers have you, in your musical career, how many managers have you had? Like, person who was not inside the band, who was just kind of speaking, negotiating deals, dealing with labels and things like that on your behalf?
I've only had 3 managers my entire career. That's it.
And the rationale, the whole experience was just kind of, yeah, no, never again.
Well, no, I mean, not that I'm opposed to it. I have a manager now, but I am aware of the fact that this guy makes a percentage off everything that I do. you know? And it's much different when you say to a manager, hey, look, this is my career. I'm getting to a point where I can't really handle things. If you can go out and give me some opportunities and make some money, I'll give you a cut. Rather than him just sitting back, taking a cut of everything that we're doing as a band because we're popular at the time. So it was like it's a much different experience now with the manager.
Okay.
I'm aware that this motherfucker takes a cut.
Yeah, but that's also incentive for him to get up off the couch.
You got to work for that shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then they can build back. Well, I got you on The Simpsons, and I got you on Martha Stewart Living front cover, and all that stuff. So you can actually measure the accomplishments as opposed to, well, I did make a call to George Clooney's people to try to get a song in one of his next movies, but more tangible things and results.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what type of financial and other struggles did Aiden have to constantly deal with? I mean, I'm sure you've got tons of horror stories, but I'm sure there are some things that are a lot more resonant than others.
Oh, man. It's like a dagger in the heart. It's just...
I'm sorry. Let me step on your chest and pull the dagger out.
Yeah.
I still want to hear your answer, though.
I mean, I think, when I started a band, my goal as a musician was to be able to play shows every night and make enough money so that everybody could buy new jeans when they rip their jeans and hair dye and cheeseburgers at the end of the night. And that was my goal financially. I'll just live in the van, I'll play shows, and I'll eat cheeseburgers. And when it got to a point where we were making money, like real money, I mean, here's an example. In 2007, we had released, Nightmare Anatomy was a very big record. We had released an EP called Rain in Hell. In the beginning of 2007, we started the Taste of Chaos. I mean, we were touring from 2005 to the end of 2007 consistently. We didn't stop. In the beginning of 2007, we were on Taste of Chaos with The Used and 30 Seconds to Mars. And we did that tour. It was all arenas. We were on a bus. We had a full crew. We had a manager, an agent, and a business manager. We did that tour. We got out for 6 weeks. We made Conviction. Then we flew overseas to Europe to do huge festivals. I mean, Main Stage Download, Main Stage Reading. We were flying to all these. We played a festival with Tori fucking Amos. Like, it was big in
That's
Europe.
weird.
It was weird. Then we came back to America. We did a headline tour, and we were doing $10,000 a day in merch. A day. And then after that, after the headline tour, they gave us the offer. They said, okay, you have two offers. You could either go open for Fall Out Boy in the same arenas you just did with The Used, or you could go with The Used and do Taste Chaos International with Rise Against. And we were like, well, fucking Bert's our boy, so let's go. And we did. We went to Australia, New Zealand, Japan, all of Europe, Mexico. And at the end of the year, I remember we had made something like $1.4 million that year. It was fucking insane. And I hit my business manager up because at the time I was living with Jake, our drummer, in his basement, on his couch in his parents' basement. And I hit my business manager up and I was like, hey, I want some money. I want to go on a trip. And he was like, we got to do some accounting. I'll let you know. And he hit me back, and he's all, well, it looks like we just paid a $50,000 Amex bill, and we still got about $10,000 left, so we should get back out on tour. And I was like, wait a minute, you mean I've been touring for 3 years, and we just did all this shit. We just played Main Stage Reading. I got video on MTV. I mean, I'm on the cover of magazines. I'm on, advertisements. I mean, I'm getting chased through the fucking airport by goth kids. I can't even go into a fucking Hot Topic. And you're telling me that I'm broke and I got no money and we still got $10,000 to pay off?
That's a hard thing to hear.
I mean, that was when I woke up in the music industry and realized that motherfuckers are not looking out for my best interest.
That was my next question, was when did you finally say, fuck, I need to get smarter about this shit?
Yeah, man. That's when I hit the business manager up And I was like, let me see that Amex bill. And our fucking techs had been buying road cases that they weren't using. Motherfucker bought a $100 screwdriver. $100 guy was like, who bought the $100 screwdriver?
That sounds like U.S. Department of Defense type.
I'm telling you,
Cost.
50 rolls of gaff tape. Who the fuck needs 50 rolls of gaff tape? And me, I was spending the whole time like, oh, I'm the artist. You deal with it. You know? Oh, talk to the manager. Dude, have the crew do it. You know what I mean? And I was just living in this fantasy, like I'm this big artist. Fuck, it's insane, and I had to fucking wake up. So
wow,
that's what woke me up. That's what made me change my fucking life.
So I mean, I guess it was just one Amex bill and a line item veto of an Amex bill. And
I mean, it was crazy, man. We didn't have any money, but we made over $1 million. How the fuck? Where the fuck did the money go?
Yeah, I mean, but then you're talking about you had a manager, you had a business manager whose job is to tell you where the money is going.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 30% of the, it was 10 for the agent, 15 for the manager, and then 5 for the business manager. So 30% of our net was going away immediately.
Yeah.
So after, you make $100, we're only making 70. We got 5 people in the band. It's really not that much. And the costs that are associated with having a full crew, a bus, that shit is fucking expensive. I just did Warped Tour and spent $90,000 doing Warped Tour because I got a bus.
Yeah, wasn't it like you broke? What was it? It was $3,000 a day or something? What was your?
No, it's only like $1,000 a day for the bus.
Oh, it is?
But then gas and crew and hotels and driver and unexpected costs and all that shit. But
are you a whiz at numbers? Were you always like financially? Were you like big in numbers in school and all that? Were you like?
It's funny.
Kenneth is laughing. I want to know why.
I'm just laughing at school.
Oh, okay. That's the
Kenny's the number guy. Kenny's a math wizard. I mean, I was really good at math when I was a kid, when I was in school. But I mean, I got fucking kicked out of school in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably would have been really good at algebra and all that shit, but I mean, I know how to add and subtract, motherfucker.
Yeah. I would hope so.
That's all you need.
So Ken, exactly what do you? I mean, as far as numbers and all that stuff, do you look over things and go, "Dude, I don't know about this"? Or are you kind of like a watchdog in that, or what?
For me, it's pretty much like he's got most of like the business end done, where I'm more of like kind of everything on tour and stuff. I'll see things and think like, well, even if we're buying snacks, well, this is 20-ounce soda for a fucking $2, or you could get like a 60-ounce soda for $3. You got to spend that $3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I roll. It's more of the day to day.
The hostess, you could get 6 donuts for $2 or 20 for $3.
Yeah.
But at this stage of your career, do you really have to seriously micromanage snacks?
No, I mean, not really.
Yeah, but it adds up when you, when you get back from a tour and you realize kind of how much you spent on the road too. That's something that I at least try to be real mindful of, because when I get home I do other stuff to make money, and it's like I got to just try to keep on top of it. Every year you got to go pay the government as well.
Oh yeah, they want to know like what you did with your money.
And they take a lot of money.
What is it? 30%? Is it 30%? It's considered self-employment taxes. What is it? Is it 30?
Well, I don't know. I still have a business manager that does like the tax stuff, but I mean, I pay so many fucking taxes. I'm almost a Republican because of fucking taxes. Between the property tax on fucking food and clothes and gas and cigarettes now, it's ridiculous how much we, as the populace, pay in taxes.
Do you? So you own all your masters now?
Yeah.
Okay.
For all William Control.
All the William Control stuff. You did get Hey Culture off of Victory.
Yep, I bought that shit back.
Okay, gotcha. There was a legendary story about you were either renegotiating a contract for Aiden or William Control or something, and you live in Seattle, and you had to, and you were told you were told to go to Chicago and meet Victory CEO Tony Brummel at a restaurant, at like a 5-star restaurant in Chicago, and you took like what little money you had, got the plane flight there, and then got to Chicago, and he stood you up.
Yeah.
For the meeting.
He fucking did.
Okay, so this is something that genuinely happened, and it was just kind of like a, dare I use the word, was it a control thing? It's kind of like, yeah, dude, this is what I think of your contract. I'm not going to show up at your meeting.
Yeah. He fucked me. More ways than one.
And was that kind of, at that point in time, I don't know what your particular situation was. Was there like 29 cents, 2 tablespoons of dust, and a bunch of bread loaf twist ties in your bank account by that time? Or?
Yeah. Man, there was. I was fucking broke when he did that to me. Like, I didn't know how I was going to pay the mortgage. I was just trying to get out of my contract so I could start putting out my own records and making money myself. Like at the end of the Aiden contract, after the economic downturn of the U.S. economy in 2008, 2009 we released Knives. I released Noir in 2010, and I had Phineas was born, in 2009. So by 2010 he was a year old. I was living in my house in Everett, Washington, and I could barely pay the mortgage, and we had this new baby. We were on welfare. We had food stamps. My wife had got us set up with food stamps. Things were bad financially. I mean, I was like I wasn't ever able to make any money with Aiden, especially at the end, because A, we weren't touring, and B, we never got any royalties or anything. So I wanted to get out of the Aiden deal with, I think there was one album left, and he fucking stood me up. And so I just went home. I made the Aiden album and completed my contract.
And that was it.
Just said fuck it. And then I started immediately releasing William Control stuff on my own.
Did you ever have a conversation with Will? I'd like for you to re-up the label.
Well, the William Control contract I signed in 2007, right at the height of Conviction, like the height of Aiden. We were at like the biggest we'd ever been. And Kenny and I started writing this William Control stuff. Didn't have a name, didn't have anything. We just wanted to make some other songs. And I sent him, because he has first rights of refusal, right? So when I signed the Victory deal, if I or Angel or Jake or any of the guys started another project, he would be able to say, yes, I want to sign this, or no, I don't want to sign this. You can sign with someone else. And because Aiden was successful, he decided, after I sent him the shittiest demos that we had made, the first demos of just the worst sounding shit, he was like, we're going to do this. So I signed this 2-record deal, or it was a 3-record deal, but the stipulation in the contract was that album 1, Hate Culture, and album 2, Noir, had to sell a cumulative amount of 100,000 units for him to exercise the third option. And obviously they didn't, because I didn't even tour with William Control at first.
Right.
I mean, I did 12 shows with Escape the Fate on Hate Culture. That's it. So, I mean, obviously we didn't have 100,000 units sold. But we did have a small fan base, and I just wanted to start putting out stuff myself and doing things myself, because I needed to fucking... The only time I ever got any money in the Victory deal was when I started producing the records. So after Conviction, we spent $100,000 making Conviction, right? Because we thought, the first album did well, we get a bigger budget, we'll go to a bigger studio, get a bigger producer. We thought that's what you needed to do as a band to make a bigger album. And we spent $100,000 making that album. And I remember clearly the producer sitting on the back in the fucking control room, laying on his back, popping up every once in a while going, sounds good, do it again. And after a month and a half of him not arranging anything, I mean, you can listen to Conviction and you can listen to the demos and they're exactly the same. It just sounds better. And after spending, we gave him $50,000 to lay on a fucking couch. And I was like, not going to do that anymore. I'll be the producer because I can do this shit. I'll just hire a fucking engineer that can work the Pro Tools. You know, so every record I did, I've produced myself after a conviction because fuck paying $50,000. But I've also taken part of the money and invested it into the studio, so we have nicer gear to record with, makes it sound better, and whatever we had left was how we got paid. You know, so if we had Knives was a $70,000 record advance, and I put probably 50 into the studio. I bought all new Pro Tools, all new HD, you know, outboard gear. I bought a fucking Trident 80B, and then we split up the rest. And that was the only time we got paid during the Knives cycle, because every tour we were doing was we were just kind of breaking even because we were spending so much on the merch, you know, the crew, the fucking travel.
Wow.
I learned a lot in Aiden.
Yeah.
I learned a lot, man.
Ken,
So,
given his history and stuff like that, you were probably just I'm assuming you were just like buddies. You'd been buddies for a while or something like that, and still thought like, hey, this guy's not making any money. He seems like he's getting ripped off everything. I want to go dedicate a part of my life to be hanging out working with this guy.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I've always been in kind of local bands, whatever you want to call them, you know, and we would do our own tours, book our own tours. You know, we printed our own merch. You know, we printed out fucking covers at Kinko's and folded them up and burned CDs. So like I was used to like the DIY culture in general, and I kind of met, you know, Will, started hanging out, and like that's right about the time he's talking about when all this stuff started going down. And you know, that's when it was like I was so used to, you know, sleeping on floors anyway, that for me it was like, oh, I get to sleep on floors, but now it's in England. Fuck yeah! All right, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, it's better than
those British floors are so comfortable.
Yeah, it's better than Alabama.
Yeah, and I mean that was like the time. It's like when, you know, we started doing it and just deciding like this is something, you know, you kind of gotta start taking over more of the roles, you know, like you used to have to do, you know, because no one's gonna care about your band, I think, more than you're gonna care about your band.
Right.
You know what I mean? And no one's gonna give a fuck about your songs as much as you're gonna care about them. So it's like, you're your biggest, you know, benefit. And if you're not willing to work for your own band, like, why is anybody else going to work for you? You know? It's like the only reason they're going to do it is if they think they could, you know, kind of rip you off and make a quick buck.
Oh, exactly. Sure. You know, and then there's also the concept of the cultural legacy. Nobody's going to preserve your legacy better than you.
Absolutely.
That's a big reason why we've taken everything in-house.
Yeah,
I know something we'd probably get into later, but we were just tired of getting ripped off.
Yeah, because I mean, because I was going to ask, like, you know, the various components of your personal empire. I mean, do they come to light as you need them? Like, you couldn't afford to pay for somebody to make merch, so you you bought the equipment and started dragging the color steps across the silk screens. I mean, you didn't, you know, how you react to things like, oh, I need this. I want to do this. I'm going to self-publish a novel. I'm not going to try to shop around something that's going to end up in some publisher's slush pile of stuff. I mean, and things like that. And likewise, even like, hey, I really like this Lay Your Ghost record. I could probably do a better job giving him a safer space to work in from the business, an honest representation, than what if some other label were to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, do you just think, it would be cool if this needed to exist in this world. I'll just do it myself. I mean, seriously, the whole DIY thing is just kind of you are in the complete driver's seat of everything you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's everything that we do is like, you know, kind of figured out how much we were getting charged to make shirts, and we figured out that we could do it for a quarter of the price. It's like,
well, you know, for the merch, for instance, the biggest factor for doing the merch was A, being able to keep more of the profits, and B, streamlining the process. You know, like I, as an artist, when I started doing William Control stuff myself, I had only had experience with Victory. You know, like we would make merch and we'd play shows and sell it at shows. And that's what Aiden's deal was. And Victory dealt with online stuff, Hot Topic, all that other
There were certain designs you could only get through Victory.
Yeah, we could get them when
like there would be like obviously a Hot Topic exclusive.
Yeah, so they had that shit on lockdown, and I really didn't know anything about an online store. So when I started doing William Control, I set up an online store, and then I'd be like, "Oh, here's a new design," you know, and people would buy it. Not many, but a few people would buy it. It would take a week to collect all the orders. I'd have their money. I'd have to order the merch from my merch guy, which would take, you know, a week to 2 weeks for him to order shirts, print the shirts, get them all done, send them back. So that's 3 weeks. And then I would have to package them all up and ship them out. And that would take another week to 10 days. So people would order a shirt and they wouldn't get it for 6 weeks, you know, a month.
Right.
A month or a month and a half. And people would be like, "Where's my shirt?"
And in today's culture on demand, I wanted it yesterday.
Yeah. So I needed to streamline that process because, one, it was bullshit waiting all that time. And B, I was tired of fucking answering these emails. "Where's my shit? I sent it to you. Where's my shit? I sent it to you. Where's my," you know? I'm fucking tired of it. So I had, you know, $4,000 left at one point, and I decided, fuck it, I'm going to start making this shit myself. And I looked up on Craigslist to find a machine, and I drove from Seattle, from my house, all the way to Sacramento, California to pick up this machine. And I had these guys stuff it in my van. I drove to another place in Sacramento to buy a dryer, and I drove it all the way home. And on the way home, I stopped at Home Depot and hired 3 Mexicans to help me lift it out of the van and put it in the little warehouse that I had rented for $600. And I've been doing merch for a long time. You know, Aiden started in 2003. I had bands before that. We were making t-shirts. So the idea of what a silk screen t-shirt is not foreign to me. But the practical application of getting a screen, putting the ink on it, getting it lined up properly, and making a shirt was fucking hard.
Right.
And it took, you know, a lot of me fucking a lot of things up. A lot of shirts are crooked to figure out.
Here's $10,000 worth of horrible shirts with
it's true.
out of registration designs.
I'll just say too, if you buy a shirt and it's crooked right now, I probably printed it because I'm still learning.
Yeah, registration. What the fuck is registration? I had to watch hours of YouTube videos to learn how to do it. But what has happened is I've been able to print the merch. Someone orders it, I can print it and ship it out with the postage meter that I have, and get it into the mail that fucking day. You know? Now I have a couple of employees that work for me, and we are taking over other bands' merch stores and streamlining their process because we're working with bands who are in that position where they're like, "Oh, well, I've got all these packages to ship out, and it's fucking annoying because I just want to be in a band."
Right.
So, but that was the main motivating factor, was to keep more of the percentage of the profits and to streamline the process.
And you're the one who makes the shitty out of registration shirts.
That is very true.
Who are you administering merchandise for? I mean, you don't have to name names if you don't want to. I don't know if it's a private thing.
Yeah,
but
no.
Are you working with 5, 10, 15 bands?
I mean, we do the William Control, the Submit clothing.
Right.
We have a clothing company called the Lost Foundation, which is like, I don't know, shirts that say like, "Not today," or, it's just like princess or
Gotcha. Okay.
stuff like that. We're doing Lay Your Ghost, obviously, Black Blinds. We're going to start doing the Lucy stuff that's coming out later this year. We're doing a clothing company for Nikki Misery called Misery Loves Company.
Okay.
So we design and make the merch and ship it all out. We do tour merch for New Year's Day because their merch situation's a mess. They've got like, if you Google New Year's Day merch, there's 5 different companies online that have New Year's Day merch. Because their old manager was sussing stuff out to different companies and taking a percentage, and the band just like, I don't know. It's kind of a mess. But
you've been there, done that, sold the shirt on eBay.
I'm trying to help them.
Yeah. Which kind of leads into my next question. What mistakes are established bands doing with alarming frequency?
Signing merch deals.
Signing merch deals.
The merch deals, the absolute is the big lie.
Yes. That is the biggest, and I maybe we shouldn't talk about this, but the merch deal is the biggest butt fuck of them all. Out of everything that you, record deals, anything, merch deals are the biggest butt fuck.
Well, it seems that so I guess the way I understand it, not being in a band, but being around lots of bands and having ultimate respect for musicians and hearing the stories that they tell and how the business is structured, it seems that you get to a certain level of notoriety on the major profile indie label, or you get the major label deal, and suddenly it's like, hey, you're got these affiliations, now you're playing, and maybe you're playing in bigger rooms, we'd like to do your merchandise for them, because it's probably comes in, it's a lot more money involved if you're playing 3,000 to 4,000 seat theaters than if you're playing 500 cap clubs.
Yeah.
And the merchandising dudes are like, here, we're going to, the merchandise deal is essentially, I mean, not specifically, but you are getting a cash advance for future sales of your shirts.
That's right.
And that is right. That's the baseline idea why people sort of figure like, oh my God, it's free money. They're going to give me $100,000 and we can pay for a bus and we can pay for sushi for lunch for 2 weeks at a time, or whatever type of costs you incur on the road. But ultimately, what's the big lie to
that? All right, well here's an example. Boy George came back with Culture Club last year. I mean, and there's bands that are doing this now that are renegotiating their contracts.
Yeah.
They're taking these $1 million merch deals.
360 deals. The label gets part of your merch.
Yeah, Motionless took one. Black Veil Brides took one. Despite old William Control warning against it, they still took them. So here's an example. All right, so Boy George comes with Culture Club, and whatever merch company, X merch is like, hey, Boy George, I'll give you, this is real, but these numbers are real. I'll give you $250,000 for your merch, and we do it for 2 years. Or whenever you recoup. And the manager for Boy George goes, hey, Boy George, they want to give us $250,000 for this merch, and then we don't have to do anything. And they just take care of it. And the manager gets his 10, 20%. He doesn't have to pay back, by the way. He just gets that money that's his. Boy George goes, oh, cool. That means we can afford a bus, and, I could buy some more earrings, dangle earrings, for the next 10 years or whatever the fuck. Yeah. So they take the deal. Great. Thank you. Take the deal. They go out on tour. X band, X merch company sends a merch guy to deal with all the merch, do all the numbers, sell it every night, travel with the band. And he, over the course of one tour, pulls in $321,000. That's how much money he makes on the tour. And after the accounting, right, after the credit card fees and the admin fees and the cost of the shirts and the shipping and the travel for the merch guy and the fucking blah 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 and the blah 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 blah, they give the band $105,000 to apply towards their $250,000 advance. So now the band, they pull in $320,000 and the band still owes $150,000. So that means that Boy George has to go out and do another tour, make another $320,000 to get another $100,000 put towards his bill, and the motherfucker still owes $50,000 to the merch company. I mean, that is loan sharking 101. Straight up.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
That's straight up loan sharking.
I mean, he's got to sell, almost $800,000 worth of stuff to get what he only got was $200,000, maybe, because he had to divvy it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, and that's all on 1 tour, 2, 3 tours. Like, if you can make that in a year yourself, if you would just do your own merch.
Yeah. And these bands, they don't either they're too dumb to understand basic arithmetic. They don't care and they just think, well, whatever, we'll be big forever. Or they have a manager that's like, this is a great deal. You should take this deal. Which is usually the case.
I'm sure it's a little bit of everything. I think that's another thing I think about with bands today is that I think they think they're worth a lot more than they actually are worth, and they take too much money from things, and then they're never able to pay it off, and they just stay in this hole that they can't get out of.
Yeah.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to come off like, who the fuck are you, asshole? Let's see you be in a band. You know what I mean? I was going to say that.
Listen, like, I talk about it all the time. It's like, we've been doing this. I mean, we've opened for bands, played humongous shows. We've played the smallest shows, It's like, I definitely think for us, it's like, we kind of know our worth, and we want to maximize our worth.
Yeah.
And that's why we,
and we don't want to owe anybody.
Exactly.
We don't
You're
want to
truly in charge
people.
of your own destiny.
Yeah, we don't want to owe anybody. I don't want to get off a tour and have I would get off tours with Aiden, and they would literally hit us with a $55,000 fucking merch bill. And I'd be like, wow, fuck, $55,000? That's so big. Well, whatever. And I didn't even look at them. I didn't even look at the itemized bill. We're paying $9 for a t-shirt. I mean, these companies are charging these bands $9, $10, $11, $12 for a shirt.
To make one.
Yeah, on a $1.50 fucking t-shirt.
And then you would say like, okay, so it's like $12 a shirt. So what's your standard markup then?
I mean, if it's $20, the band is only making $8.
And then if you certain venues, there's certain
cuts.
Venues,
oh yeah, venues take 20%.
It's 20% of that stuff. Yeah.
You got to hold the money for tax.
I do remember there was one band that actually said, in full transparency, here's what we pay for a shirt. Here is what we have to sell the shirt for, so you can see our level of profit. And then they said, and this is what the venue takes when you support us tonight. This is what the venue takes out of that money. So if you have any complaints about everything, we want you to know where the money goes. And I'm thinking that a lot of venues probably don't like that.
Hey man, they still take the cut. They don't give a fuck.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah,
I think that's why you see these days, man, like a lot more bands selling shirts for $25, $30. When it, like, even 10 years ago, it was 20 was considered like
a lot.
And now it's like $30 no problem seems to be like the new standard. And I think it's just because, like they sign these deals and they just can't make money selling shirts for $20. That'd be it for them.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's like and that affects everything else, because some kid will go to the show and like, wow, it's one of my favorite bands. It's $30. Oh well, I guess I'm not going to go to this show, and this show when they come by in a month's time, because I'm not going to have the scratch for it.
Yeah.
So it affects everybody.
Yeah.
That's just a drag. Completely. That brings down a whole culture, and then there's that whole finger pointing of like, hey rock star, I saw you sell your shirt for $30. Meow 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 meow.
Yeah, well, fucking look at how much money I'm getting fucked on. I mean, I could sell shirts for $20 because I make money on it.
Yeah. There was that Against Me video called "We're Never Going Home." It's just a documentary about the band when they were on Fat Records, and they talk about them playing a gig with Hazen Street. There was like
supergroup kind
of thing. The supergroup thing, and then there's like they showed the cameraman was prescient enough to take footage of the merch booth, and it was like Hazen Street shirts $25, Against Me 10 or 8, maybe it was 8, I can't remember, but to get the juxtaposition of what you were saying about bands who are kind of,
well, that's one thing I always laugh too, is because like when you go to Europe, bands always kind of sell their stuff for like a little more, because they usually just do the equivalent, like £20 or €20, even though the way the dollar was, it's like, that would be more money. And one of the greatest things, we saw NoFX on a day off in Amsterdam, and they were selling their shirts for €10, which is like so cool to me. It's like a band that's been around for that long, and they're still like they could easily sell their stuff for €20 and their fans would buy it, but they know that's not their style. And they do things, on the cheap and like hook it up, which is, it's funny.
It's because they own it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not. They not.
Don't owe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Don't allow anybody's fingers in your pockets. That's for sure. I mean, are there any other things that like you're seeing established bands do that just like, oh my God, you're missing this? I mean, is there just things? I mean, in a world of digital,
it's the trade-off, man. You have. Being on both sides of it, right? Aiden was a band that had lots of press, lots of the record deal. He had an agent, had all the publicity, but I was broke. And William Control has none of that. No label, except Control Records, which is me, and now some other people that we've built it up. But, we don't get a lot of press. There's no advertising. There's no money for marketing. We do the videos ourselves. Like, everything is a lot smaller, but I make way more money than zero.
A lot of bands who've been on major labels, they'll go, well, we're going to carry on, and they still do things. They sell less copies, but they're making more money.
Yeah. Because that's the trade-off,
It's the MC Hammer thing, where he figured out that he can make more money selling 10,000 records out of the trunk of his car than 1 million records on a major label.
Absolutely.
And then you kind of got to make that decision. Well, do you want to be big and broke, or do you want to be smaller and stable?
Yeah.
Are there any myths that you guys would like to explode about the music business? I mean, just everything. Like, one of the things we have here is, like, I was told that young listeners don't even know what compact discs are, let alone buy them. But, you did have them on your merch table at Warped, and you do make them, so there has to be something to that. Is it, and everybody's talking about, Spotify and Apple Music and things like that. But obviously, you probably, or I would like to think you're more in tune with what your fans / listeners / consumers want better than anybody else.
Yeah, well, our fans are a little bit older than kids. We don't have an all-ages crowd anymore. They're all 18 and over.
Okay.
Most of them are in their 20s, 30s. We got some older fans, too, that loved, the 80s Neuromantic, Depeche Mode, New Order stuff.
But do they want to just have that on their phone, or do they genuinely want a 5-inch aluminum disc in their house?
I think there's a lot of our fans still want a physical product. Some of them just wanted to get it signed, and then they want to listen, keep it on the wall at home, listen to it on their iPhone. Some people like just a product that they could touch, So, we're not selling 1 million records. We sell like 5,000-6,000 copies of actual product, and that's that.
It's worth doing.
Yeah. I'll make it available digitally, obviously. I don't fucking buy CDs anymore. Yeah. I haven't bought a CD in a long time, like
10 years.
Yeah,
so what do you do? Are you Spotify damaged, or are you just like?
No, I use Apple Music.
Okay, all right. So you're just streaming service. You pay your monthly fee and
$3 a month
and listen to whatever you want to listen to.
Which isn't much. I feel like I was doing the math one time. I was like, I don't listen to it's enough to even warrant this, but I just keep it going because if I do need to listen to a song, I like that it's available.
Okay. I know you like to keep up with Ed Sheeran, so I totally understand that.
Love you to take us on tour.
We love you, Ed. Take us on tour.
Even I guess there's some sort of a TRL debacle, but we're not going to talk about that right now. Exactly.
Honestly, I don't know what's going on in pop music culture. I listen to Sam Cooke and Frank Sinatra and Wu-Tang, and
it makes sense. For what you do, it completely makes sense.
We don't know shit.
Yes, that. If there was a light in the studio that said dry irony, it would be flashing red by now. Seriously, you have to dare. You have to dare destiny to be a musician these days.
Yeah.
I'm not a musician, but I just my heart goes out to even the bands I hate. The fact that you want to pursue this is just so incredibly grueling because there's a lack of wanting any type of physical product, and now I'm just like, I think I have some change. I have some change in the couch. Here's your Spotify royalty for the past month, just all that stuff. But yet you've in something that's rather interesting. What I'd like for you to discuss, you have entered Control Recordings has entered an agreement with Sony.
Yeah, for distribution.
Yeah. So those 5-inch aluminum discs can get into stores or online retail outlets or something like that.
Stuff like that. And digital stuff.
Digital stuff is the big issue. It's like, when you have a deal like that, what's big now is like you got to get on the playlists. You got to get on the Spotify cool band playlist or whatever the fuck it's called. You know what I mean? And like having those kind of things is like what could get you up to the front page on the new releases of on your iTunes or whatever. And I think that's kind of like what those labels are really good for is kind of putting your music in front of more faces and getting them to listen.
it's really kind of like the same dynamic, the way that major labels are able to get certain songs on radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know anybody who listens to radio these days.
Hey, but
Let me tell you.
you don't listen to, you don't live in Missoula, Montana, or Iowa,
Exactly.
or any. These
Right,
motherfuckers are huge. Seether. That's why Seether is still fucking able to play in arenas.
Oh,
Because of
exactly.
fucking radio.
Nickelback.
Nickelback, exactly.
Sure.
Radio still sells records. It just so happens that radio doesn't particularly like, the Warped Tour genre.
Something like that. And they don't even know who the hell William Control is.
No,
Of course
they
not.
never will.
No, of course not.
Who the fuck is gonna play William Control on the radio? Some asshole.
Be a full page industry. There has to be some industry magazine. Maybe there's this industry website like, "Hey assholes, why don't you program the new William Control album?"
Shit, man. I'm from Seattle, and I've grown up listening to the 107.7 The End, right? The alternative station, and I fucking hit them up so hard when I put out the first Revelations EP, The Pale, trying to get the Monster played on radio, and they wouldn't even fucking email me back. So
Okay.
I just gave up. This whole band, the whole thing about William Control and the Neuromantic Boys is that repeatedly we've been told no. By radio, by press, by record labels, by agents, managers, repeatedly told, what am I going to do with this? It's not rock, it's not rap, electronic, it's not anything. You're singing about spanking butts and like, what am I going to do with this? That's been our whole hurdle this whole time. It doesn't fit into any genre. I mean, we're on tour with Motionless in White, The Amity Affliction, and Miss May I.
What's the most compelling? I don't want to say compelling. The most like-minded tour you've ever taken. I mean, did anybody from Black Audio's office ever call you up and say,
Oh
"Hey"?
no, definitely not. Need that. I think that dude just hates me. I'm pretty sure.
What'd you do to him?
I was in a band called Aiden.
Okay, all right, okay. But do you know what I mean? It's just kind of, there seems like it's... I'm not going to deny that there is a electronic dance rock movement, and there's also kind of bleeds also into the whole industrial rivet head culture, that type of thing. But there's not a whole lot of those bands. I mean, you did do the you've been out on tour with Comic Christ.
We did Comic Christ, yeah, but they're like an industrial band,
right? Exactly.
Straight industrial.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems more. It seems more in line.
There's lots of bands like us. Cold Cave, there's bands.
V&V Nation,
IMX.
Yes.
There are bands like us, kind of in our. We're more aggressive, like less soft electronic, and more punk electronic. But there are bands that we would go on tour with. But a lot of them are fucking super cool guy. Want nothing to do with us, which I've never understood. There's 5 fucking bands on Earth that would work well on tour together, and then you're like, "Hey, I love your band." You hit them up on Twitter, and they're just like, "Yeah, cool." It's like, the fuck, man. Whatever.
Okay.
Let's do our own shit. We'll go on tour with Motionless. Fuck you.
More people will see you.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
I mean, let's put this in context.
I know. It's an odd tour to be on, like playing in front of a metal audience.
Yeah. So, what is the typical? Do you have the folded armed metal dude? Like, I can't bang my head to this. Why the hell are you even here?
Yeah, there's a couple of those in the audience, and then I make fun of them, and it's all good.
And just like, oh, so you make fun of them, and
They like to be called out, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they start smiling and they get all happy,
Yeah.
well, that's the legendary thing. Those early Nine Inch Nails gigs, when they were out with the Mary Chain and Peter Murphy, the more that they broke stuff, the more that they beat each other up on stage, the more that they insulted and threw shit at the audience and flipped them off and told them to go fuck themselves, the more merch they sold.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is that? What is that dichotomy? I'm going to pay for somebody I'm going to watch somebody.
People are masochists.
I think so. Yeah.
People like to be
I mean,
spanked and degraded.
not me. Not me. I don't.
I'm sure you put on a little gimp mask, your little diaper.
No. I will cop to enjoying fishnet stockings. You walk around fishnet stockings, they feel really good on the soles.
I'm sure they do.
Soles, absolutely.
You say I know they do, or I'm sure they do?
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they do. No, I know they do because I dressed up like Trent Reznor for Halloween one time, and I had boots and fishnets on. So there you go. That's how I know. And that one time I owed some dude in Chicago some money for something, but that's another podcast altogether. Once again, flashing red irony sign. Okay, you took control of your life entirely. You started the print industry. You started the label. You self-published your own books. You like big butts and you cannot lie, so you started to submit.
That's right.
What other industries do you have your eyes on?
DIY industries. I can't really, I got something else going, but I can't really get into it right now. But everything, we're busy, We decided we were going to take everything in-house. When we did this last record, when we did Revelations, we're like, okay, let's make a video. And then the video cost us, $4,000. And Kenny's like, yeah, I'm just going to learn how to edit videos. Fuck all this. And so we just started making our own videos. So we make our own videos. We have an engineer, Axel, who does Later Ghost. I moved him up to Washington. He mixes, masters, engineers. So we do our own records. We make our own merch. Kenny does designs. We'll fucking do everything. We'll do everything. Because fuck everybody.
It's like a crusade. The music is definitely not punk rock, but the mindset certainly is. Absolutely.
We're more punk than any of these motherfuckers out here.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that. Just really simply because I think at the end of the day, punk rock, no matter whatever the stuff is you're talking about that comes out of the speakers, it's all about being in control of your own destiny and DIYing it and having as much control as you possibly can when there is a realm.
And doing what you want and saying what you want.
Sure.
And not letting someone else censor you.
True.
Let me tell you something.
Tell me something.
A lot of those old punk heads really into William Control.
Yeah, they are.
You ever seen a crowd at Warped Tour? You'll notice a lot of hardcore dudes out there singing along, dancing.
Sick of It All, Municipal Waste, The Adolescents,
Hatebreed,
CKY.
Yeah.
All those guys watched your set at...
The Adolescents guys came to the show in L.A. We're
and they grew up in the 80s. You couldn't have grown up in the 80s not been singing Flock of Seagulls and shit. Come on.
Depeche Mode.
Yeah, it's like their guilty pleasure.
I always wondered what the connection to hardcore dudes who like Depeche Mode and the Smiths. Because it seemed it would be the antithesis of...
I'm a punk dude, and I love Depeche Mode and the Smiths, and I don't really know why. It's
good songs, man.
Good,
the Smiths are the ones who started that 19 words in a song title.
Yeah.
And Depeche Mode, you can play those songs on anything with a Marshall stack and three distortion pedals, and it still sound great. But I always wondered that kind of. I didn't know that.
I think just a good song is a good song, man.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, weren't you in negotiations with an investor for some sort of explicit film for the Revelator books? And I get that spins into my fascination with submit clothing. Can a career in adult films be too far behind?
I don't know. Yes, I am currently in the process of making Revelator into a movie. Man, I gotta be honest. The movie industry is just
more fucked than the music industry.
More stupid and just bullshit than the music industry.
I bet.
Because people in the movie industry are like, this is a great script. I think this would be a great movie. You're like, okay, sick. Let's give me some money and let's make it. And they're like, okay, I got to talk to somebody. And then 6 months later,
Harvey Weinstein still didn't call.
It's just a weird industry. Someone's got to talk to this person. This person's got to talk to this person. This person's got to talk to this person. And then this person's got to talk to the actor. And the actor's got to tell this guy. He's got to tell his manager. He's got to tell his mom. And then they got to come back to us and be like, nah, he doesn't want to do it. It's fucking...
it all comes down to money, too, man. Movies cost a lot of money.
Yeah. The budget that we're shooting for is $15 million. So it's not like,
and that's
give me
really
20,000
kind of
low.
And that's lowball for people, with triple million.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you tell anyone $15 million, I mean, that's a lot of money to me,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd say that's a lot of money.
Especially coming out of the music industry.
I mean, to me, I'm like, 15 million. Oh my God, we could do any fucking thing we want.
But you're giving 15
I'll
million.
make that motherfucking shit stretch.
15 million for one thing, though, is that's a daunting thing because I'm thinking you actually need $15 million for every single possible thing.
Yeah.
Everything down from building sets to craft services to, whatever type of thing. Yeah.
Editing and all that.
Yes.
Everything, yeah.
Online editing, offline editing.
We'll get there. I mean, the story's cool, and I feel like the script is really solid, and it's just gonna take somebody who's fucking interested to be like, here's all the money you need.
How many years has this been in the making?
I mean, we had the script done probably a year and a half ago. We've been shopping it, and we've got one company that will give us half the money.
Okay.
As soon as we get the other half. So it's kind of, and we can't get the other half right now because the other half, these people are like, oh, well, we want to know what actor you're going to have. And the actor won't sign on because the money's not there. So it's like, it's just kind of a tightrope,
I see.
You got to have an
So you probably have to need an actor who has a relatively high profile, but really likes the script. I'm just like, oh yeah, I'll do it for like a quarter of what I'd usually do simply because I love the project.
Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is most actors are lame because they're not ponying up.
I mean, for instance, we sent it to Michael Fassbender for the role of Lucifer, and Michael Fassbender, him and his manager were like, wow, this is a fucking great project. This would be great, but we're not going to sign on first. So we want to wait till you have.
Who else do you have lined up? Yeah, exactly.
Who's going to be the main role, and then we'll decide based off that.
Gotcha.
Why don't you just tell us who you want, and we'll just go get them? Let's
well,
make a movie,
there is
man.
that, but it could be that could be it. Just like
That's the game they play, though. Yeah.
Keep playing that game. We'll come take it from them.
Yeah.
Well, that's like starting an award show. Well, we don't want to be part of first year itis. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Well,
that was a cool award show. I like that.
Yeah, it was the fourth one. Imagine so we had all the phone calls that you should interview me for that podcast.
Yeah, we would have done the first one.
That's got to be a nightmare. An award show where you got to deal with that many fucking egos.
Moving forward,
that's what I thought.
As he downshifted into the other thing, let's talk about a different pain in the ass: butt plugs.
We're sold out of them, unfortunately.
Sold out.
You're sold out of butt plugs.
Sold out.
This was to tell everybody, it was a Submit thing, right?
Yep.
It was a product from Submit. You had sold them just on a lark, on a whim, the world needs more of this particular appliance, and I know that I can create a really great anal appliance for people.
Apparently, yeah, 'cause they're all gone.
Anal jewelry.
So we were right.
Not bad. So they were all gone. What did you do with that money? Did you put it back into like touring, or did you further R&D into butt plug technology?
I mean, all the money that we make just kind of goes to the bills. It goes into salaries and supplies and what we need, gear, gas, food, a little bit here and a little bit there.
Some people just, like Sheena Easton says, take the morning train and come back later, and you guys are like doing all this other stuff.
Yeah. Dollar
bill, y'all.
That's right. Cash rules everything around me.
Absolutely. Money has ruined everything.
I don't think it's ruined everything, but it just allows you to do more stuff. Like making money allows me to put together a hardcover Revelator book. It allows me to buy, more supplies for the screen print shop to make other designs and other cool shit, and allows us to buy shit like the Warm Audio vocal compressor, and you know what I mean? It just makes life easier. But now that we're making the money, life is easier.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I absolutely totally get that. As we wind down here, because it's been an hour of us lambasting people and having a couple cheap laughs at other people's expense, which I could do this for 3 hours because that's just the kind of person I am. Single-handedly walk away from this. What should anybody in a band, maybe just like, okay, I'm in the band, we started to play some local shows, we're out of my garage, we got a practice space, we're doing this, hey, we self-released our record, we have to go out on tour to promote it. At that moment, what is the one thing that you would like to instill to anybody who has this dream, and before they get drawn over the coals by everybody, by any other types of forces, be they shitty club owners or parasites, like, yeah, I can get this for you, kid. I can open these doors for you, kid. What one thing would you like to instill on people who still have that ambition and still have that yearning in their heart that they want to make their living as a professional musician?
I'm going to guess A, you don't need a manager until you're making $1 million a year. So a manager isn't going to do shit for you unless you're fucking doing shit already. So don't make the mistake of thinking, oh, if we get this manager, he's going to give us these opportunities. That's bullshit. This motherfucker is there to manage your shit when you can't. That's why you get a manager. Second, call your boy Control Merch. We got your shit. Let's go. That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
Mr. Fletcher, Mr. Francis Control, Francis hyphen Control, or should I just call you Control from now on?
You can call me Guillermo.
Guillermo
Controle.
Guillermo Controle.
El Patron.
Okay, understood. Thank you very much for coming by, gentlemen. We really appreciate it. We could probably go on another hour about Blade Runner, Harvey Weinstein, and Second Amendment rights.
We're going to do that next podcast, talking shit, right?
Yep.
Just talk shit.
If you want
Talk shit with Pettigrew.
I think we're going to rename this thing very soon.
That's right.
Gents, thank you very much for stopping by. We mad appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for having us. Let's go smoke cigarettes.
What a fine idea. I'll bring the asthma inhaler. In a follow-up to our chat we had during the middle of the last Motionless in White tour, William Control announced his retirement from the road, citing the physical grind of touring and expectations of people on both sides of the stage. "The truth is, I'm just tired," said Control in an email to me. "I don't want my son remembering all these enormous gaps in his childhood where I am out on the road." The White EP is currently out now, and you can keep up on his nefarious activities over at thisiscontrolrecords.com.